All right, we're going to look at unit conversions using the unit fractions. And there is a video on this, but I don't know if it's very clear. Anyway, when you have a problem like this, and we have one like this in the discussion, the depth of the ocean where a ship sank, so they're giving us a certain amount of feet. And we're going to round the following answer to the nearest tenth. I'm missing the other part of the question, which is convert it to miles. So we're going to convert the 38,544 feet to miles, and then to kilometers, and then to meters. Okay, so what we're going to start with, of course, is the simple conversion of 1 mile to 5,280 feet. And most of us should know that conversion. Anyway, when they talk about a unit fraction, what they're referring to is the fact that one of these conversions, or any conversion, can be written as a fraction. Let's get rid of that. Can be written as a fraction with mile on top or mile on the bottom. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to awkwardly make this fraction. I write with the mouse when I do this, and it's always a little weird. So it can be 1 mile over 280 feet, or the other fraction. And you're probably thinking, why do we want to do it this way? This is the way, this is the word or, that is like foolproof. If you use this method, you'll almost never make a mistake. And there's not really any memorization involved. Whereas if you have to memorize, if I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, I have to multiply, things like that, which can get, in a test time, your memorization isn't as good because you're stressed. So this is a method, and if you're going on to chemistry, that is used extensively in science. But it's not hard, so I really want to stress that you can learn it and understand it. So these are just two fractions that can be created out of this measurement. So we're going to choose, and we're always asking the same questions. We start with a conversion. We make the two possible fractions. That's what we always do. Step 1, you make the two possible fractions. Step 2 is choosing the fraction. So let's say we're choosing which fraction to multiply by the measurement, meaning the original measurement we want to convert. Let's stretch that out. Okay. When we make that choice, and that's not choosing, we are looking at what we start with. So we start with 38,544 feet. And this tells us what to choose. If you're starting with feet, all that means is you choose the fraction with feet on the bottom. That's it. That's all you have to decide. And that becomes what we multiply by. So it's always multiplication. And now we just plug in the conversion factor, which is 1 mile over 5,280 feet. So when you're multiplying fractions, any whole number, remember, if you have a whole number of 3, you can always place it over 1. And you can do that with this fraction, or this whole number. Put it over 1, and there, look, you're multiplying two fractions. And multiplying fractions is simply multiply your numerators, and then multiply your denominators. So we've got a new fraction over here of 38,000. This is really division ultimately. But looking at it this way, prevents mistakes. So 50 to 80, and that's feet over feet, which cancels out, and what you have left is mile. So once you divide those numbers, getting out your handy calculator, and you will be able to use one on the test, 544 divided by 52, whoops, 38,544 divided by 5280 is 7.3. So we have then 7.3 miles. Okay? So we just changed the feet to miles. And we use the method using unit fractions. So let's look at it again using unit fractions. And now we're going to start the next conversion using our answer, because we're going to go from miles to kilometers. Okay, so I am going to select, I'm going to clear our picture here. So we're going to go from our answer of 7.3 miles, we're now going to convert to kilometers. This time we're not going to use this conversion. We have to choose a new conversion. From the conversion table, that new conversion would be 0.62 miles equals 1 kilometer, km. Okay, so out of this new conversion, we can create two unit fractions to choose from. And it's important to take this step. Miles over the 1 kilometer, or you put it the other way. I mean, once you get used to it, you won't be writing it all the way out. But you need to be able to understand this particular step. Or you can have it be a unit fraction the other direction, 1 kilometers over 1.6 or 0.62, and I can explain why that is. I just don't want this to go on forever and ever. So that's two different fractions. 1 kilometer over the 0.62 miles, or the 0.62 mile over the 1 kilometer. You can write this equation either direction. So, and once we choose, so we set up the unit fractions. Now we choose which one, and how we choose depends on what we start with. We're starting with miles. So we choose the conversion factor with miles in the denominator on the bottom. So that means we are multiplying by this unit fraction. The 1 kilometer over the 0.62 miles. And every time you do that, you're able to cancel miles, because anything over itself is 1. Even if it's words, miles over miles is 1. It gets rid of the units themselves. It equals 1. So once again, you can place this fraction here over 1, and so you multiply your numerators and you multiply your denominators, standard how to do fractions, and you will get 7.3 times 1, which is 7.3, 1 times 0.62, which is 0.62, and your miles will cancel, and you have kilometers when you're done. So your answer will be, drum roll, calculator, 7.3 divided by 0.62 is 11.77 kilometers. Now the good news about going metric to metric, when we go to meters, oh my gosh, that is a nice easy shortcut to do that. But let me stop the video here and I'll do a second one for going from kilometers to meters.